Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Cricket 8 podcast. I'm on half of today's episode, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, and with me, as ever, is Viscount Bartholomew II, Robert Barron, the one and only purveyor of all stats and facts and how the markets are doing when it comes to cricket. Listen, Rob, we don't have a lot of time in today's episode, but we're going to kind of do a kind of wham bam, thank you, ma'am, kind of whistle stop, tour of this particular issue. We're going to look at the mysterious case of Shimron Hetmyer. And yes, I've picked this one, Rob, because I've also got my kind of West Indies hat on when I'm talking about Shimron Hetmyer. But he's had a curious start to this year's IPL. He's had a curious career, full stop, if we kind of encompass everything within the context of his international career and all to date now in IPL. But what got me thinking about this particular episode, Rob, is Hetmyer's batted 3 innings thus far in this year's IPL. First game, he batted at 6. They were trying to chase 286 to win. He came in at 6 and he got 42 from 23 balls. And I remember it well because in the run-up to that particular game, I had put a message out on the Caribbean Cricket Podcast handle saying, what even is Shimron Hetmyer anymore? Is he just a slogger? Does he even know how to construct innings anymore? Then he went and hit that 42 from 23. And I had a lot of people come back at me going, you see, that's why Shimron Hetmyer is who he is. Next game, Rajasthan posted 151 for 9. Hetmyer came in at 8. Hasaranga batted above him. Doobie came in as an impact player, batted above him. And Shimron came in at 8. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if you bat 8 in any cricket team, you're basically at best, you're a bowling all-round tail ender, right? Hetmyer comes in at 8 as a specialist bats. Next game, Rajasthan are chasing 182 for 9 to win. He comes in at 7. He makes 19 from 16. And again, Hasaranga bats above him. Shimron Hetmyer, Rob, talk to me. This was a guy who was retained. He was retained at 11 crore before this season. And so far he's batted 6, 8, 7. Talk to me, Rob. Where do you want to take that?
He's their only overseas bat, right? In the whole franchise, unless you're having Hasaranga as a bat. So they're kind of banking on him, really. And when everybody looked at the squads, I'm just looking at my notes that I made before the IPL on Hetmyer, and he is now just an out-and-out finisher, but basically just a pace slogger, right? He's like, and I've watched, very much like yourself, I've watched his whole career, and he's a guy that when he came on the scene, you think, this guy has got tons of ability. What are the West Indies going to do with him? And for multiple reasons that we don't have time to get into now, West Indies can't keep their good players or put them on a pathway that they want to. They're going to clear off and play franchise cricket because they get 50 times the money, right? So that's happened. There's no cover for Hetmyer. He also, in the past, for multiple reasons, has had availability issues. He's not wonderful at getting to the airport on time, all that sort of stuff. So he's one of the best fielders going around. That is still the case. He is one of the best runners between the wickets I have ever seen. He's extremely fast. He's very good at running twos. But his job now is kind of face 15 balls of junk pace and try and hit it as far as you can, right? He has been reduced to a sideshow cricketer. And it's as if they don't trust him to do anything else. Like, I don't think Rajasthan are set up very well at all. I don't think they're managed particularly well. But that isn't the thing with Hetmyer. Like, Hetmyer's been hit and miss the last couple of years. 2023, he looked like the real deal. He got about 300 runs, 150 strike rate in an underperforming batting lineup because Butler didn't get many. But he looked like the guy who could come in at 6, down the order and give it a whack and finish your innings off, right? It's a really important role. Similar thing has happened to Tim David as what's happened to Hetmyer. He just has this reputation of not being able to play any spin at all, Tim David. So they delay his entry point. Franchise after franchise delays his entry point until they've only got pace left. It's like 4 overs of pace. In you go, Tim. Show us what you can do. And when he plays at the Wankhede, where It's massively good for late innings runs, right? There's loads of runs at the death at Wankhede if you're in. It doesn't move much. Like, it's a really hard place to bowl death. And obviously they don't have Bumrah anymore. He can come in and you watch him play when he's batting with bloody Bhuvaneshwar and sending him back and facing all six in the last over. He looks like he's really good. But you forget, he might have been anything, Tim David, at cricket, but now all he is 4 overs of bad pace, whack. And they seem to have turned Hetmyer into that guy. So they don't trust him to build innings. They don't trust him to fight fires. They send Hetmyer in ahead of him. And his numbers,
Do you mean Hasaranga?
Well, who did I say?
You said they send Hetmyer in ahead of him.
Yeah, they send Hetmyer in ahead of himself.
Oh,
they send Hasaranga in, right, to fight the fire instead of trusting Shimron to do it. So all they're saying is now we are paying the money for one overseas bat, and his only job is to bash pace at the end. That's it. That's all he can do. And anybody that comes to you and says, "Yeah, go ahead,"
is that worth 11 crore?
If he's really good at it, if he does it every time, but he doesn't do it every time, Mash. Look at his numbers last season. He had a bad IPL in 2024. He scored 113 runs in the season, Mash. Highest score of 27. Let me just read you. So this is 2021 to 2024 IPL. Runs per innings of 18.6. All right, it's because of where he bats. Strike rate 148.7. Absolutely fine. Strike rate against pace, excellent, 165. You take that all day. Strike rate against spin. Here comes the problem. Average against pace, 43. Average against spin, 20. Strike rate against spin. This is 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. Strike rate against spin, 103. No good. Must add that to his game.
But hold on. So let me just, I wrote down the stats as you're giving them to me. Strike rate against pace for Hetmyer, 165.
Yeah.
Strike rate against, this is in the last 3 years of IPL. Strike rate against spin, 103. Now,
last 4 years, yeah, it's plenty
last
of games.
4 years of IPL. If Rajasthan, because they've got the same stats you've got, you would like to believe. If they've looked at that and said, right, this guy is the absolute gun cricketer in the world when it comes to marmalizing pace at the death. That's why we've got him. That's why we hold him back till batting at number 6, 7, or 8, depending on match situation. Is that good planning, therefore? Let's look at the flip side. Is that not good planning then?
Rajasthan's setup looks like terrible planning. They don't have any cover for anybody. Don't have any cover for anyone. And they've got lots of injury-prone guys. Hasaranga is very injury-prone. How often does he get through a whole season of something? I'll tell you one more stat about Hetmyer that stuck out to me. Is his death strike rate is very good. Last 5 overs of the innings, his strike rate is north of 170, right? That puts him in top tier. So he's one of the best hitters at the death. But if he comes in before, if his entry point is in the phase before, which is 11 to 15, his strike rate is 108, which is desperately bad. That is no good to anybody. So basically, if he comes in before the death, all he does is knock singles and try and run twos. He can't hit spin. That's a long sample size of him not being able to hit good spin. So all teams need to do, and teams are doing this a lot more now, is delay their spin bowling. Keep 1 or 2 overs of Chahal or a gun spinner to the death. Rashid Khan is getting found out a bit this IPL, but he's going to get found out unless he develops some sort of hitting ability against spin. The numbers, but look at Rajasthan and their planning for this year, right? They've got rid of Butler for whatever reason. It just doesn't, like, who have they got on the bench? A load of overseas bowlers that shouldn't be in the team. They've got a 13-year-old child who is taking up a batting spot in their squad, who I hope to God doesn't play. Archer, which they spent the entire bank on when he was injured, and is now bowling wonderful first overs, but getting absolutely slaughtered in all his other overs. They didn't trust him to planning. They were defending 38 off 2 overs the other day, and they didn't give him either of them when his first over was unplayable, wicket maiden or whatever it was. It's they're a nonsense franchise. Sanju carrying an injury coming into the tournament. Jaiswal, brilliant season 2 years ago, not so good last season, struggling a bit this season. Rana is your number 3 with no cover, sort of guy that can get injured, can go out of form quite badly the way he plays. No cover for him. So Rajasthan are a terribly badly set up franchise. Last year they had the Ashwin insurance of like, oh shit, we're 3 down. Ashwin, can you just go in and elongate the batting order a bit? They've got none of that now. So, but from a West Indian point of view, what do you think about the guy that they're just like, no, sorry, Shimron, you can't bat. We're going to send any old clown in front of you because we don't trust you to do anything. Like, why pay him all that money if all his job is to hit 4 overs of junk at the end?
Well, to be fair, the stats that you've provided for this particular episode are critical because recently I've been saying that Shimron doesn't make any West Indies team in any format of cricket, right? He certainly will never play Test cricket again. He's not good enough to get into our ODI side for the simple reason of what you've just told me. I don't trust Shimron Hetmyer to bat anywhere in the West Indies ODI side and construct an innings. He hasn't scored a 50 since 2019 in ODI cricket,
Wow.
right? And then when you look at T20 cricket, even if West Indies utilize, which they don't, but even if they utilize Shimron in the way that Rajasthan utilize Shimron and say, right, you're brilliant at the death and you can marmalize pace, who's he getting in ahead of? Because you've already got Rovman Powell, you've already got Dre Russ, you've already got Romario Shepherd. And obviously, Dre and Romario serve an all-round purpose. So then, you're looking at, wait, so is Shimron Hetmyer better than Rovman Powell? Is he more consistent than Rovman Powell? And this is before you look at the issue that they have to get Shea Hope into the side consistently. So people who are watching this, possibly with a West Indies hat on, now they might understand why Shimron can't walk back into a West Indies team anymore.
And you've got Rutherford. And I
completely forgot about Rutherford, who came in and supplanted Shimron and made Shimron obsolete to the West Indies. But then this begs the question, Rob, whose fault is this? Shimron Hetmyer's, or has the IPL reduced Shimron Hetmyer to like a clown show?
So
that's harsh. I shouldn't have said that.
Let's clip that and get that sent out right
now.
No.
Production.
Shimron Hetmyer is a clown show, according to Michelle St. Patrick Hewitt, right? That was said out loud and with passion. Right. So what they've done now, let me put this another way, right? Put yourself in his, funky red shoes for a minute. How good a life is it as your only job is to come in and smoke it and patrol the boundary and do those relay catches and like take good catches in the deep, right? Your only job is to come in, hoof pace, quite often these days, rubbish pace, let's be honest, on good pitches at the death, have a smack, run around a bit in the field and look good. That's your job, right? You don't have to do any of the graft. You don't have to do any of the dog work. You don't have to rebuild ever. You're not a rebuilder anymore. You don't fight fires. You don't have that technique. You're not able to come in and go, because most of the best players of this game, and you can include Chris Gale in this, is the best T20 player that's ever played the game, can do the dog work, can see off an over of swingers from Dale Steyn when it's hooping round corners, knowing that he's going to get left arm junk in 20 minutes time. And they sit there and they go, I don't care. I'm 8 off 20. Well done. See how many I've got when I've faced 60 balls. Oh, look, it's 110. Do you know what I mean? Those players had the all-round technique to be able to play lots of different types of cricket. It was needed back then. Hetmyer can make an extremely good living playing for multiple teams, wandering in and doing 10 minutes work every game, basically. 10 minutes work. Come in, smack a load of bad pace, run around in the field. Great day out, that. Lovely day out. When I play for my the team that I can't even get in, my over 40s village team, I do nothing, right? I look quite good in the field, fielding close. I hardly ever bat. Score like 4 off 2 at the end, maybe. Lovely life. That's what I want to do because I don't have any skills, right? He's basically getting stacks of cash for only having 2 skills: good fielder, hitter of pace. Why bother? Why bother doing other stuff? Why earn a tenth of the money and get some sort of reputation for being good at cricket? He doesn't need that.
You said Rajasthan. You said Rajasthan have have a poorly constructed side. Is there a team that you feel Shimron would be better suited for given his current skill set? So is it Rajasthan's fault? Because if we're saying that Shimron actually has a valuable skill set when it comes off, Is there a team that is better suited for where people wouldn't ask as many questions about what he's doing coming in at 7 and 8? Or do you think this is a problem no matter who he's playing?
I think if, like, let's say you chucked him in the Mumbai team, right, which you wouldn't, but let's say you chucked him in the Mumbai team or KKR or Sunrisers, teams that just want to pack the batting with smackers, he would just be another one of the smackers, right? And you could use him like a Tim David, which they do anyway. But here with Rajasthan, you can pump his tyres up a bit and go, you are our only guy. You're the big deal, right? You're our only one. We've got no other overseas bat in any position, let alone, you know, they don't have Butler setting the game up for him anymore, do they? They don't have any of that. They've got Indian talent, sure. You know, they're banking on players like Parag and Rana and Jaiswal and Jarrell and Sanju and all that. Fine. He's their only guy. So, but when he's not in good form, and batting is a thing where your form, we've seen from lots of players this IPL, there are some players who are in brilliant form and others are in terrible form. And it's so different, those two things. He was in bad form in the IPL last year and he got virtually no runs and stunk the place out. Did well to get retained. Like, what franchise then goes, right, you didn't do anything last season, Shimron. You really didn't help us at all. He got 113 runs in a whole season and he doesn't bowl. 113 runs across a whole season, gets his 11 crore for playing again, and he's their only overseas bat, and he doesn't have to ever face spin. He just comes in for a jolly up at the end. Like, what sort of a thinking is that? Can you explain?
Well, so I've got an answer to that. This is the question I wrote down beforehand. And Andy, I see your super chat in the background. Production will bring that up at the end of the show to just recognize Andy's super chat. But Rob, I've got a question for this. Oh, sorry, I've got an answer to that question. I think one of the reasons why Rajasthan retained him as well is because certain players have brand value, right? Now, Shimron at Rajasthan has always been the Shimron with, in fact, this is a season where he doesn't have it, but Shimron has the multicolored hair. Now, of course, people are going to get in the comments be like, Mash, how dare you suggest that Shimron's being retained because he has colorful hair? But the point is, certain players in IPL are attached to the brand. And when you think Rajasthan Royals, I think you think, well, some people I think might think Shimron Hetmyer and the pink hair or the blue hair or the whatever hair, right? And when he got retained at 11, I was like, is this a brand move? Is this because he just fits the Rajasthan brand and it's important to retain a brand player like Shimron Hetmyer? In the same way how KKR will always retain Dre and Narain, irrespective of how bad or good their seasons are. Is Shimron a brand player?
Good question. If he is, bad idea, I think. I get it with KKR because they have been able to, whether it's skill or judgment or blind luck, I don't know, they've been able to get ludicrously good seasons out of Narain and Andre in later years. Like last year, how did Narain do that season? I will never understand that as long as I live. How did it happen that he scored that many runs with the bat? Andre, this season so far, and he is a guy that could explode into life at any time, looks like a cart horse with the ball in his hand, and he didn't even bowl in the first couple, and he hasn't scored a run yet. So that is a concern. But when they've got their team, because they think about it a bit, you know, they won the bloody thing last year. If he doesn't do something, they have other people that can cover, right? They have people that can have multiple skills. When you have your whole bank on one guy who can only hit pace at the end of the innings, and he's it, you know, he's your only overseas bat, he's the big deal. There must be some other reason why they're picking him. So your point must have some merit that he. So what is he meant to do? Like, does he go out every day and coach kids around the area? Like, does he do that? Because that would be a good thing. Like, if you said that, like, footballers, for example, they say, oh, he's a wonderful club man. He's a great captain. He goes out, he does loads of stuff for charity. He makes our club look brilliant. He goes around everywhere. And if he doesn't perform that well on a Saturday, you're like, but he's still got huge value to the club. Whereas what's Shimron doing after the game? I don't know. What's he doing before the game? You know, they don't play that much, 2 games a week or whatever. You got 5 days off. Probably. What training does Shimron do? Bit of fielding and range hitting. It can't be much else because he's never required to do it. He's not spending 3 hours against the local leggy in the nets, is he? Because he's not allowed to play against spin. So what's he up to? Maybe he does other stuff, Mash. I don't know what the answer is. But they from here, they look like they've got virtually no chance of winning the competition. And that is not because they're crap. It's because their auction was a shocker, and they set up as they've done in previous years. Like Mumbai did silly things with Archer, but Mumbai, a name obsessed, image obsessed franchise, right? Of we've got the local Indian talent, we want to have these men in. It was Pollard for a long time, all that sort of stuff. This is what we're going to do. What's the identity for Rajasthan? Like, they're obviously a smaller side. When they started with, Shane Warne's lot winning it with Watson and Asnogka and all them, Yusuf Pathan blowing onto the scene. It was amazing. They had this identity of back against the wall. We're the small guys. We're going to unearth talent and all this. And now it's just like, well, we've got these 10 guys. Yeah. What happens if one of them gets injured? Not sure. Who's your impact guy? Don't really know. Archer will be brilliant in every game. He had a bad first game, and now they're treating him like a club bowler, right? They're saying, oh, well, you can bowl. He's like the manager's son almost. He's like Arjun Tendulkar role now. He just bowls one over at the start, and then they're like, oh, we don't really want you to do anything else. They just look totally lost. There's no plans from what I can see, and they're just hoping that Jaiswal gets 100 or Sanju gets 100, and then the rest can fill in round it. But they look like a shambles to me. But the question is, Mash, what do you want from Shimron Hetmyer? What do you want his career to be? You've already described him as what? A clown show is that's your personal view of the man.
I think Shimron, the thing is, it's the age-old issue around West Indies cricket, right? Or with the West Indies cricket hat on. Shimron's production's going to clip this, so let me just get out of the way, because I know production's going to stitch me up. So let me just get out of the way. Right. Shimron will never be good at cricket again until he loses his IPL deal, because only when he loses his IPL deal and stops getting retained for 11 crore will Shimron feel that he has to develop other aspects of his game. If he's going to get paid and retained at 11 crore to only bat in the last 4-3 overs of a game and wait for the perfect matchup just for him and boundary field and be stunning on the boundary, he is a very good fielder in fairness, then Shimron will never, ever, he won't even be as good as he was when he was 19, 20 years old. We might be seeing Shimron ceiling right now. So Shimron's ceiling right now at the age of 28 is, I can bat for 3 overs and hit crap pace and take stunning catches on the boundary. That's now the extent of my cricketing ability.
He's getting £1 million for it, Mash, this season.
Huge amounts. Yeah, I can't criticize. I get paid huge amounts to do that. So more fool Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, but trying to suggest anything else. But listen, Rob, unfortunately, we don't have that much time for today's episode. So people, I did see a few comments. Production, can you bring up and not Andy, sorry, can you bring up No One Knows 2025? Just bring up his point here, because I think it reiterates what Rob's been getting at. Yeah, here we go. So according to entry points, Shimron's best entry points are 7 to 11, where he average, I think it's what Rob was going on about earlier on, where he averages 47 at 156 in the IPL, and at the death, where he averages 92 at 185. Now, Rob may say your stats may be slightly out there, but either way, the point is that's where he excels. And I guess no one knows his point there, Rob, will be that that's why he's doing what he's doing.
So his entry point, his 7 to 11 numbers are good. I've got 7 to 10 and 11 to 15 here. His 7 to 10 numbers are good. His strike rate's 140 something, which puts him comfortably above average, but he hasn't done it many times, so the sample size isn't big enough to draw big conclusions on that. He's quite often coming in then when they're already buried, they're 4 down in the power play, and he's just gone, no, I'm going to hit, and there's no point in me trying to knock it around because that's not my game. So that's why his most common entry point, when he comes in a bit later, the 11 to 15 bit, when they've probably just lost a wicket they didn't really want to, they don't want to put him in over 12, he can't get on with it from that standing point. So he's either trying to do a rebuild, or he just cannot score against spin in the middle. He's a very interesting guy. He's a very he's enigmatic anyway. You don't hear him talking too much in the media either, not like some of his predecessors. But he can clearly play. But when you boil it down to buckaroos, which is what cricket is boiling down to now, let's be honest, he's getting £1 million sterling to play in this IPL, whether he's any good or not. And all he has to do is field well and smack it about for 3 overs. He got 800k last year for scoring 100. You know, lots of people scored more runs in one innings than he did in the entire season last season. He got 800k for that. 800k the year before. 800k the year before that. Plus his BPL, you know, questionable mayhem league that you get a few grand for if you get paid. Plus the CPL. Plus whatever else he wants to turn up in. He's rich. Yeah. Why bother? Like, he's 28, right? He shouldn't have hit his ceiling yet. He should be coming in towards his peak of his powers at 28 years old. You're probably your best as a batsman when you're 30, 31, 32, right? That's when you're meant to hit your level. He'll probably never get anywhere near his level, but does he care? He must have £5 million in the bank. Does he care?
Listen, people, Rob has said what he had to say. I'm trying to disassociate myself from everything. If you're watching this on the replay, get in the comments below. Let us know what you think about Shimron Hetmyer in the IPL. But last comment for the day, just from Andy. Andy sent in a super chat, and this is for you, Rob. Do you rate Gaikwad? Can CSK salvage the season?
Yes and yes. Gaikwad is awesome. The thing that has interested me about Gaikwad so far, one, that he's batted 3, which I would not do. And 2, that he came in the first innings, I think his 50 off 22, was it? Was probably the best, most fluent batting I've seen from anyone in any innings, right? I've seen big hitting. I've seen Sid Hassan's on drive, which is the shot of this IPL. But Gaikwad's 50 off 22 was great. But if Chennai are to be successful, they don't want the 50 off 22 Gaikwad because that is too highly volatile. He can get out if he's playing like that. The anchor who explodes later, the Joss Butler style of bat that Gaikwad used to be, opening the batting for Chennai, is awesome. So I would want that guy in. Stop the Tripathi experiment. If you want Tripathi, bat him 3 and tell him to get on with it with full license. But it seems like Ravindra, who used to do the 50 off 20 role or attempt it, has swapped. It's like Ravindra's become the anchor and Gaikwad is getting on with it at 3. Swap those two, or have Ravindra doing what he normally does and Gaikwad doing what he used to do. Chennai will be more successful if they go that way, because Gaikwad is due a lot more runs when he reins it in slightly at the start. He can go on big 6-hitting streaks later on. But the thing that CSK are a franchise that lies to us constantly and have done for many years and have been banned for, you know, various nefarious activity. But this whole nonsense about we don't have any control of our pitch and we have no idea what the curator's up to and we have no idea, blah, blah, blah. Nonsense, right? Create the Turner at Cheapawk and they're going to be fine. They've got loads of spinners. They don't have a good enough hitting side to have the shootout against KKR and SRH, 220 plays 240 or whatever. They're going to get beat. But if they create the spinny pitch at home and if they open with Gaikwad, they absolutely can turn the season around, and I suspect that they will burgle their way into the playoffs this year.
Well, you heard it there first, people. Go put your money on CSK. Listen, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on another live show on the Cricket 8 podcast. IPL's in full swing. We'll be back very, very soon with some more episodes. See you all very, very soon.
Remember to support us by subscribing and sharing, but also signing up at cricket8.com, where live scorecards cover 8,000 matches a year with advanced visual details that tell you who is actually in front in the game.